This build is the most flexible yet easy to play and extremely powerful DPS build. It is used in a lot of squad content, especially when it comes to hard fights, and after watching this video completely, you will deal top damage in every single encounter. So let's jump right in. As always, if you want to see the written build guide and some more details, be sure to check out the Snowcross website. But now, let's start with the gear. So for gear, it's a little bit different than usual. It's not one gear stat that you want to go for. This is a condition-based build. You want to go for full Rampagers armor, except on the shoes, the foot, the legs, and the chest. So 3 pieces Sinister and the other 3 pieces Rampagers. You want to go for Superior Rune of the Crate to get even more condition damage and bleeding duration, because that's the most damaging condi that you have. Furthermore, if you want to go for infusions, full condition, so melee infusions would be the best option. For weapons, you want to go for dagger, and in the first offhand, the focus, and in the other offhand, the sword. On both offhands, you want to go for Sigil of Earth, and in the main hand, you only need 1 dagger for that. You can go for the Sigil of Agony. Again, bleeding is the most damaging condition that you have. For those weapons would be also Sinister. When it comes to trinkets, your back piece is Rampagers as well as your 2 rings. The amulet and the 2 accessories should be Sinister again. So you have a full Sinister and Rampagers mix. Reason for that is, even though you're playing a condition build, you want to achieve 100% crit chance. You go for Relic of Aristocracy. It's just the best relic. You apply so much vulnerability with this build that you can easily upkeep those stacks permanently. So only be aware that if you're doing a mechanic, that you should try to hit another enemy to get the vulnerability and keep up the stacks. But otherwise, it's very easy to permanently upkeep the condition damage, or condition duration rather, permanently. Now to utility and food. For food and utility, you want to go with Toxic Tuning Crystals and Spherified Cilantro Oyster Soup. The reason for that is that you get with the 45 to all attributes enough precision to cap, as well as a lot of power and condition damage, and expertise as well. Very good food. Furthermore, the 66% chance to steal life on critical hit is very good, because of course you have a 100% crit rate, so you can proc that on ICD, which is not only a very nice DPS increase, but also helps you to sustain a little bit better. So now to the traits. So for the traits, you want to run Dueling, Illusions, and Virtuoso. In Dueling, you get some nice Vigor application, quite nice. You get some bleeding on Illusions that inflict critical hits. That's also quite nice. Bleeding, like I said, most important condition for you. And then you permanently upkeep Fury for you. And Fury, as your Virtuoso, gives you 40% crit chance. So you get alone 100% crit rate permanently. You also help your supports a bit with this trait. It's quite nice, because your party will have 50% uptime just from you. Then your Phantasms also have Fury. That's very important, because your Phantasm need to permanently crit as well. Then you get some nice Ferocity stacks and recharge reduction on your sword. Also quite nice, because one of the most important skills that you have is your Phantasmal Swordsman. And then, last but not least, you get some more critical damage increase. You don't go for Ferocity on your normal gear, but this helps a lot, because you crit a lot, and therefore you get more crit damage with this trait, and that increases your damage. Really good. For Illusions, you get some nice Confusion increase, get some very powerful damage increases for conditions and direct damage, and your Shatter skills, which are your Blade Songs, on a Virtuoso get recharge reduction. Also very important, because you spam them off cooldown. We will get to that with the rotation. Then your Shatter skill 1 becomes an ammo skill. That means you can use your F1 twice. Really, really good. Then Name the Disillusioned, really important, because it will, every single blade that you use with your Shatters will inflict Torment as well. So you not only apply Bleeding, but also Torment and Confusion with the F2, for example. Really, really good. And then, last but not least, you have a lot of might generation as well when you cast Phantasms, which is not that important, because you should have 25 might because of your supports. But Phantasms deal increased strike damage for each stack of might you have. Very strong, because 25 might will increase the damage by your Phantasms by 25%. Really, really good. And last but not least, Virtuoso, of course, you get access to your Blade Songs, which are not instant cast, most of them anymore, but deal quite a huge amount of damage from range and pierce. And you get, of course, access to your nice traits, which we get now too. You get some nice damage buff when you use Blade Songs and hit them. That's really good, because this damage buff, be aware of that when you do your burst, you should have that up. Also, Blades inflict vulnerability, and that's why you can proc the Aristocracy Relic so often. Like I said, the Fury is enhanced, you get more crit chance, and you get Ferocity based on your Vitality. So that's quite nice as well, more critical hit damage. Really important to note here, if you have not that high of a health pool, it's because of the Jade Bot Core. If you have the tier 10 Jade Bot Core, you get more Vitality and therefore get even more Ferocity. So if you want to min-max, you should also go for a Jade Bot Core of tier 10. And that's the important trait here. Blade attacks inflict bleeding on critical hits. Really important, because you have so many blade attacks, and if you have 100% crit rate, they all will inflict bleeding. And therefore, it's one of the most important traits on Virtuoso, because you get access to that much bleeding baseline. And therefore, you want to go for 100% crit rate. And that's also very good, you heal of a percentage of your condition damage. So 3% of every single tick of the conditions will heal you. That's very good, that helps you to sustain even without a healer. Really, really strong. And then you shoot out a plate when you use a Phantasm skill. It's also quite nice. It's not as powerful as in the power build. Be sure to check out the link in the top right hand corner, where I talk about the power build of this Virtuoso. But it's still a quite nice DPS increase. And then, last but not least, bleeding, you apply this more damage. Just 25% baseline damage increase, really good. And more importantly, stock up Blade after applying enough stacks of bleeding to foes. This is really good, because you apply bleeding consistently and you get so much blade generation just by using this trait that you can spam your Blade Songs off cooldown. Even your really strong distortion, which makes you immune to all damage, is easily spammable. Really, really good. So now let's go to the utility skills and healing skills. So for the healing skill, you want to run Signet of Ether, of course. Passive heals you, but most importantly, it will heal you when you activate it and reset all your Phantasm cooldowns 100%. That's where you use it in your rotation to reset the strong Phantasm skills. And then Signet of Midnight, you should not activate it. It gives you more expertise, so more condition duration. If you really need a stun break, you can use it, but otherwise don't. And Signet of Illusions, we use it for the recharge of Shatter skills, so the active one. Whenever you are fully used up your damaging skills here, you can use it to recharge your F skills. It gives you a lot of damage if you use it, so be aware that you should not waste it on skills that are almost up. So that's really important. And the last one, also don't use it if you don't have to use it for CC. Improve condition damage, really important as well. Just more damage. And then lastly, you have 1000 Cuts. Just a very good instant cast damage skill that also counts as a blade, so it does a lot of bleeding. So now two variants, because this build is very flexible. You can swap out this for DPS loss, but yes, if you need more CC, Signet of Humility is amazing, a lot of breakbar damage. And you can also swap out the Signet of Illusions, for example for Portal. If you need to help your party go from one spot to another, you can go for Blink, really strong as well. There are a lot of options. You can go for Reflect, you can go for more boon removal. There are so many options. You can even go for Stability if you need it. It's a really flexible build, and actually all of the utility skills can be swapped out if you need them. Of course you will lose DPS, but it's not a major DPS loss, so it's really helpful if you can, for example, do a mechanic with Blink to give up some DPS and otherwise being faster. When it comes to weapon skills, you should always use your 3 and 2 of cooldown. If you don't have anything else to do, of course, do the auto attack. You can use your block to block and evade attacks. Also generate a blade if you block something with it. If you need a daze, you can double tap it. And last but not least, always use the Phantasmal Swordsman. It's really important. You should always use it when you swap to this weapon set, and when you are about to swap off it, you should also use it again. It's the most damaging skill that you have here. Really important. On your focus, you can use your pull if you need it and to apply some swiftness, but most of the time it's not necessary, and therefore you should only use your Phantasmal Warden, especially with resetting it with the... Now to the rotation. So for the rotation, it's really important that you start with the Unstable Bladestone, Phantasmal Swordsman, and then Bladeton Requiem, so your F5. After that, you instantly swap weapons, use your Blade Call and Phantasmal Warden. Then you use your Signet of Ether, use Bladesong Harmony and 1000 cuts while you cast it. Again, Phantasmal Warden, because you resetted it with the Signet of Ether. Use one auto attack and use Bladesong Sorrow. Do another pair of auto attacks, then use Bladesong Harmony, Blade Call, and Signet of Illusions, because you used most of your Bladesongs. Again, you use Bladesong Sorrow, do some auto attacks, Bladesong Harmony into Unstable Bladesong, and Blade Call. After that, you weapon swap, use your Phantasmal Swordsman, and Bladeton Requiem as soon as you hit the 5 blades. That's very important to understand. You should always use your Shatter skills, which are your Bladesongs, when you have 5 blades up. Try to not use them before that, otherwise it would be a waste. The concept of the loop after that is very simple. Always cast Phantasmal Swordsman when you swap to sword and when you are about to swap off it. You should always prioritize weapon swapping. On focus, you should instantly cast Phantasmal Warden all the time and instantly reset it with the Signet of Ether and cast it again. All the other skills you should just use off cooldown. And as soon as the weapon swap comes off cooldown again, you should use it and then use the Phantasmal Swordsman again. Always cast the Bladesongs, like I said, when you have 5 blades. Very important here is that you should use your Signet of Illusions whenever you have all the important Bladesongs, so Bladesong Harmony, Bladesong Sorrow, and Bladeton Requiem on cooldown. It's not that important to reset the Bladeton Requiem, but F1 and F2 should always be resetted with the Signet of Illusions to the maximum. So you should not use it when it's about to get off cooldown. Always try to queue your skills. So press one while the other one is casting so that you instantly cast it after you finish the first one. The only thing that will interrupt your queue is the Signet of Ether as well as the weapon swap. So try to not do it. And otherwise, the only important thing that I can mention is if you need to get invulnerable, use your F4 as well. But most of the time you should not need it. And therefore you can hold your F3 and your F4 for CC or the invulnerability. If you don't need the CC, you can also use the Bladestone Dissonance as a DPS increase. So now you should be able to easily be top DPS while still being able to really be flexible and do a lot of mechanics by yourself. This build is extremely fun and very tanky, so I hope you enjoyed this video and have the same fun as me with it. Thanks a lot for watching. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I hope to see you in the next video.